Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine being hit in the face with a baseball bat. I mean, just devastating injuries, crushed nose, fractured skull, shattered eye sockets.
Yeah, brutal.
And then years later, the same person is the top athlete at their university, an academic All-American, builds this huge online following, becomes a respected expert on human behavior.
It sounds almost unbelievable, doesn't it?
It really does. How does that even happen? How do you go from that kind of trauma to that level of success?
What's really fascinating here, and what our source Atomic Habits gets into, is that it's usually not about some single dramatic turnaround.
Okay.
The whole idea of atomic is key. It means an extremely small amount of something, the
Yeah.
single irreducible unit of a larger system.
Like the building blocks.
Exactly. And it shows how these seemingly tiny, almost insignificant shifts can actually lead to really remarkable transformations over time.
Right. So today we're diving deep into the power of these tiny habits, how they compound, how they build on each other to create massive results.
hmm We'll get into the science behind it, the practical strategies.
Yeah, and some surprising insights from this source. Basically, our mission here is to give you a shortcut to understanding how these small daily choices really define who you become.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first up, how do these atomic changes actually add up? This is where it gets really interesting, right? The whole aggregation of marginal gains idea.
Yeah, that's a great concept to connect this to. Think about the British cycling team. For nearly a century, they were, pretty mediocre, honestly.
Right, couldn't win the Tour de France. I heard bike manufacturers didn't even want to sell them bikes.
Exactly. They were afraid it would hurt their brand.
Yeah.
Then this performance director, Dave Brailsford, comes in.
Okay.
And he introduces this idea of improving everything by just 1%. And I mean everything.
Like what?
Like the ergonomics of the bike seats, the weight of the tires, the type of massage gel the riders used, even teaching them how to wash their hands properly to avoid getting sick. Tiny things.
Wow, that's incredibly detailed, almost obsessive.
But the results were, well, staggering.
Yeah, the math itself is pretty astounding. If you get just 1% better each day for a year, you end up, what, 37 times better?
37 times better. It's incredible compounding.
Yeah.
But the flip side is also true.
Right.
If you get 1% worse each day, you decline almost down to zero.
So it really highlights that it's not usually about these big, sudden leaps. It's about these tiny, consistent shifts that accumulate into something huge.
Exactly. Small improvements consistently applied.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense logically. But, it raises a big question for me and probably for a lot of listeners. If it's all about these small, steady changes, why do so many people get frustrated and just give up? I mean, I've definitely felt that. You try something new, you don't see results right away, and you think, what's the point?
Ah, yes. That's a really common experience. And it's because progress isn't linear. We expect it to be this nice, steady upward line.
Yeah.
But it rarely works like that in real life. Our source actually calls this the plateau of latent potential.
The plateau of latent potential. I like that phrase. And the ice cube analogy really helped me grasp it.
Oh, the ice cube one is perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, explain that.
So imagine an ice cube sitting on a table in a cold room. The room starts to warm up, goes from, say, 25 degrees to 26, 27, 31 degrees.
And the ice cube?
Still looks exactly the same. Nothing seems to be happening on the outside.
Right, all that temperature increase and nothing.
But then it hits 32 degrees. And suddenly, boom, it starts to melt.
Oh, okay.
All that previous work, all those degrees of warming up, wasn't wasted. It was being stored, like potential energy building up.
So what looks like an overnight success, the melting, is actually the result of all that consistent, unseen effort beforehand.
Precisely. And that's why your current trajectory is so much more important than your current results.
Say more about that. Trajectory versus results.
Okay, think about it this way.
Yeah.
You could be a millionaire right now, which sounds like a great result, right?
Yeah.
But if you're spending more than you earn each month, your trajectory is actually terrible. You're heading towards trouble.
Right. Eventually the money runs out.
Exactly. Now flip it. Imagine you're broke right now, but you're managing to save even just a little bit each month.
Okay.
Your current result isn't impressive, but your trajectory is positive. You're on a path, maybe a slow one, but a path towards financial freedom.
That's a powerful reframe. So our outcomes, our weight, our bank balance, our knowledge, they're really just lagging measures of our habits.
Exactly. Your net worth lags behind your financial habits.
Yeah.
Your weight lags behind your eating habits. Your knowledge lags behind your learning habits. You get what you repeat, essentially.
Okay, this is shifting how I think about goals. We're often taught, set smart goals, be really specific about the outcome you want.
Right. Like win the championship or build $1 million business.
Yeah, but the source material suggests focusing on systems instead. What's the difference there? Why is that important?
Well, let's take your examples. A coach's goal might be to win the championship, but their system is how they recruit players, how they run practices, how they manage the assistant coaches, how they build team chemistry. That's the process.
Got it. The day-to-day stuff.
Right. Or the entrepreneur aiming for $1 million business. That's the goal. The system is how they test product ideas, how they get customer feedback, how they run marketing campaigns.
So goals are the result, systems are the process leading to the result.
Exactly. And here's the problem with being only goal-focused. Goals can kind of restrict your happiness.
How so?
It creates this either-or conflict. Either I achieve my goal and I'm happy, or I don't, and I'm a failure.
Right, you're putting off happiness until you hit that specific milestone.
Precisely. But when you fall in love with the process, with the system itself, you can find satisfaction anytime your system is running. You don't have to wait for the big payoff.
Ah, so you can be content along the way, not just at the destination.
Exactly. It frees you up. And this actually connects to the deepest level of behavior change, which is all about identity.
Identity. Okay, so what does this mean for you, the listener, when you're trying to make changes stick? It sounds like it's not just about doing things differently.
It's about being someone different. Fundamentally, true behavior change is identity change.
So not just, I want to run a marathon.
But I am a runner.
Okay.
Every action you take is like a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Every time you lace up your shoes and go for a run, you cast a vote for, I am a runner.
I like that vote metaphor.
And think about pride. If you're proud of how your hair looks, you'll naturally develop habits to care for it, right?
Sure.
If you're proud of your biceps, you'll make sure you don't miss workouts.
Yeah.
That pride in a specific aspect of your identity fuels the commitment to the habits that reinforce it.
So it's about building evidence for your desired identity, one small action at a time.
You got it. Shifting your self-perception through your actions.
Okay, so how do habits actually form? The book breaks this down into something called a habit loop, right? 4 simple steps.
That's right. Cue, craving, response, and reward.
Cue, craving, response, reward.
Your brain runs through these steps pretty much constantly for every habit, often completely unconsciously.
Without us even realizing it.
Yeah. I mean, the conscious mind is actually kind of the bottleneck of the brain. It can really only focus on one problem at a time.
Okay.
So habits are useful because they automate actions, freeing up your mental capacity, your attention for other things.
Makes sense. Like driving a car, you don't think about every little step anymore.
Exactly. But that automation can also be a bit dangerous because you can slip into old, unwanted habits before you even know what's happening.
Right, like reaching for your phone constantly.
As Carl Jung famously said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate.
Wow. Powerful. Okay, let's get practical then. The 4 laws of behavior change. These are like levers we can pull. The first law is make it obvious.
Make it obvious. Yeah, this is about the cue part of the loop.
And often we don't even notice the cues that trigger our habits, do we?
Not at all. Think about the cookies sitting on the kitchen counter, or the TV remote right there next to the sofa, or your phone buzzing in your pocket.
They just blend into the background.
Exactly. They become so common they're basically invisible. But they're constantly prompting us to act.
So the first step is just becoming aware, seeing the cues.
Precisely. A good exercise is using a habits scorecard. Just list out your daily habits, getting coffee, checking emails, scrolling social media, and then label them as positive, negative, or neutral. Just the act of writing them down increases awareness.
Okay, like shining a light on them.
Yeah. And there's this cool example from the Japanese railway system, the pointing and calling method.
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
The operators, as they go about their duties, literally point at important signals or gauges and say aloud what they see. Like, signal is green.
They say it out loud.
Out loud. It seems simple, maybe even a bit silly, but it forces them to externalize what would normally be a non-conscious observation. It uses multiple senses, sight, sound, touch, and dramatically reduces errors.
Huh. So we could kind of do that for ourselves, make our intentions more conscious.
Absolutely. That's where implementation intentions come in. It's a specific plan for when and where you'll perform a new habit.
Okay, give me the formula.
It's simple. I will behavior at time and location.
So not just, I'll meditate more.
No, be specific. I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my kitchen. That clarity helps you lock it in and say no to distractions.
I like that. And what about habit stacking? That one really resonated with me.
Ah, yeah, habit stacking is great because it leverages routines you already have.
How does that work?
The formula is, after current habit, I will new habit. You piggyback the new habit onto an existing one.
So, like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute.
Perfect. The coffee becomes the cue for meditation. Our source mentions the Diderot effect here, too.
The Diderot effect.
Yeah, it's named after this French philosopher who got a new fancy dressing gown and suddenly felt his other possessions looked shabby in comparison. So he started upgrading everything else, his rug, his desk, his chairs. One purchase led to a spiral of consumption.
Huh. I think we've all experienced that to some degree. One action triggers another.
Exactly. It shows how interconnected our behaviors are, which leads us directly into environment design.
Right. Making the cues for good habits obvious. Like
Yeah.
you said, if you want to practice guitar more, don't hide it in the closet.
Put it on a stand right in the middle of your living room. Make it impossible to ignore.
Retailers are masters of this, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Putting the most profitable brands at eye level, those end-of-aisle displays. Apparently 45% of Coca-Cola sales come from those racks just because they're so visible.
Wow. It's almost scary how much our environment influences us.
It really is. And what's fascinating is that self-control isn't necessarily about having heroic willpower. Often it's more about creating a disciplined environment.
So the people with the best self-control are the ones who structure their lives so they don't need to use it as much?
Pretty much. They spend less time in tempting situations. There's this striking study about heroin addiction among U.S. soldiers during the Vietnam War.
Okay.
A huge percentage use heroin over there. But when they came home, only a tiny fraction relapsed. Far less than the typical relapse rate. Why?
Their environment changed completely.
Completely. All the cues associated with drug use were gone. It shows it's often easier to cut bad habits off at the source by reducing your exposure to the cue.
So redesign your space. Make good cues obvious, bad cues invisible.
You got it. That's the first law.
Okay, let's move to the second law. Make it attractive. This is about the craving part of the loop, right?
Exactly. Habits are fundamentally dopamine-driven feedback loops.
Dopamine, the feel-good chemical.
Well, yes, but it's more nuanced. Dopamine is released not just when you experience pleasure, but crucially when you anticipate it.
Ah, so the anticipation is the driver.
It's a huge part of it. That anticipation, that craving, is what gets you to actually take action. Often, the wanting is more powerful than the liking.
So advertisers aren't just selling a product, they're selling the anticipation of how good it will make you feel.
Absolutely. And our modern world is filled with what you might call supernormal stimuli.
Supernormal stimuli.
Yeah, things that exaggerate the features we're naturally attracted to, hijacking our reward pathways. Think junk food engineered for the perfect salt, fat, sugar hit. Social media likes giving instant validation, or even exaggerated features on models or mannequins.
They push our buttons way harder than natural rewards do.
Exactly. They drive our instincts wild and can lead to excessive habits, overeating, constant phone checking, etc.
Okay, so how do we use this for good habits? How do we make things like exercise or eating vegetables more attractive? We need to engineer a craving.
One really effective technique is called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling sounds intriguing.
Remember that engineering student, Ronan Byrne? He hacked his stationary bike.
Right, so Netflix would only play if he was cycling.
Yeah, at a certain speed, he linked something he wanted to do, watch Netflix, with something he needed to do, exercise.
So you pair a want with a need. What's the formula for that?
It's basically, after habit I need, I will habit I want.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you need to practice gratitude more, but you want to read the latest news headlines.
Okay.
You could stack it. After I get my morning coffee existing habit, I will say one thing I'm grateful for, habit I need. After I say one thing I'm grateful for, I will read the news habit I want.
Ah, clever. You use the want as a reward for doing the need.
Exactly. It makes the need habit more attractive because it's the gateway to the want habit.
What else makes habits attractive? Social influence must be huge here.
Oh, enormous. Humans are herd animals. We have this deep primal desire to belong, to fit in, to earn the respect of our peers.
So we imitate the people around us.
Absolutely. We imitate three main groups: the close, family and friends; the many, the tribe or culture; and the powerful, those with status and prestige.
So if you grow up in a family where everyone plays chess and values intellectual skill,
Playing chess becomes attractive to you. It's the norm. It's what gets rewarded. Our cultures shape our idea of what's normal and desirable.
So, joining a group where your desired behavior is the normal behavior can be really powerful.
Incredibly powerful. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have yourself.
And can we work on our own mindset too? Like reframe how we think about a habit to make it seem less attractive if it's a bad one.
Definitely. Think about Alan Carr's method for quitting smoking.
Okay.
He doesn't just focus on the negatives. He systematically reframes the perceived benefits. Smoking doesn't actually relieve stress, he argues. It destroys your nerves. It doesn't help you concentrate. It interrupts you.
So you change the story you tell yourself about the habit.
Exactly. You highlight the benefits of avoiding the bad habit, changing your interpretation of its attraction. You make it seem less appealing.
Fascinating. Okay, so law 1, make it obvious. Law 2, make it attractive. What's law 3?
Law 3 is make it easy. This taps into the response part of the habit loop.
Make it easy. That sounds good.
Well, human behavior tends to follow the law of least effort. We naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work or energy.
We're wired for convenience.
Pretty much. Think about the energy it takes to perform an action. The more energy required, the less likely it is to happen.
Right. And there's often a difference between just thinking about doing something and actually doing it, like planning versus action.
Exactly. Our source distinguishes between motion and action. Motion is planning, strategizing, learning. Action is the behavior that actually delivers an outcome.
Like researching workout plans versus actually doing a push-up?
Precisely. Motion feels productive, but it doesn't produce results on its own. To master a habit, you need to focus on repetition, on action, not just getting stuck in planning or striving for perfection.
So frequency over duration, especially at the start.
Yes. Each repetition strengthens the neural circuits involved. It's about making the reps easy, which means reducing friction.
Reducing friction. How do we do that?
Look at Japanese companies again. They became world leaders in manufacturing, partly through a relentless focus on eliminating wasted time, waste effort, wasted movement in their factories.
Streamlining everything.
Right. Think about meal delivery services. They reduce the friction of grocery shopping and cooking. Setting out your workout clothes the night before reduces the friction of getting started in the morning.
I like that idea of resetting the room too.
Oh yeah, Oswald Knuckles' concept. After you finish an activity, you immediately set things up for the next time. Or just tidy the space, put the remote away, fold the blanket, wipe down the counter.
So the environment is always primed for the next positive action.
Exactly. It makes maintaining order much easier because you're doing it in tiny increments linked to existing actions. It reduces the friction of starting the next task.
This sounds like it leads directly into the 2-minute rule.
It does indeed. The 2-minute rule is designed to combat procrastination and make starting incredibly easy.
What's the rule?
When you start a new habit, make sure it takes less than 2 minutes to do.
Less than 2 minutes, that's it.
That's it. So read before bed each night becomes read 1 page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes.
So you're standardizing the beginning of the routine, making the entry point super easy.
Precisely. The goal isn't necessarily to only do 2 minutes forever. The goal is to master the art of showing up, to make the start of the habit automatic and mindless.
Because once you've started, it's easier to continue.
Often, yes. You can then use habit shaping to scale up. Start with putting on your running shoes. Then maybe walk to the end of the driveway. Then walk around the block. Then jog for 5 minutes. You gradually increase the difficulty.
Okay, that feels much less intimidating. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy. What's the final law?
The fourth and final law is make it satisfying. This closes the habit loop by focusing on the reward.
Make it satisfying. This seems crucial for actually sticking with it long term.
Absolutely. The cardinal rule of behavior change is really simple. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided.
Our brains are wired to prioritize immediate gratification.
They are. And that's the challenge with many good habits, isn't it? The rewards are often delayed.
Yeah, like eating healthy. The benefit better health, weight loss comes much later. But the reward for eating junk food is immediate pleasure.
Exactly. The costs of your good habits are often in the present, the effort, the sacrifice.
Yeah.
The costs of your bad habits are usually in the future, the health problems, the debt.
So our brain's natural tendency works against building good habits.
It can, yes. Which is why we need to find ways to inject some immediate satisfaction into our good habits.
Okay, how? Give me an example.
Think about that public health worker in Karachi, Stephen Luby. He wanted to improve hand-washing rates to reduce disease.
Did he just tell people it was important?
He tried education first, but it didn't stick. Then he partnered with Procter& Gamble to provide premium Safeguard soap.
Premium soap.
Well,
Why?
because it smelled good. It lathered up nicely. It made the experience of hand washing more enjoyable, more satisfying in the moment.
Ah, so the immediate sensory pleasure reinforced the habit.
Exactly. Hand washing rates skyrocketed and health outcomes improved dramatically. He made the habit immediately satisfying.
That's brilliant. So how can we apply that principle ourselves? Can we create like a personal loyalty program?
Absolutely. Let's say you want to save money by skipping restaurant meals.
Okay.
Create a separate savings account and name it something exciting like trip to Europe. Every time you skip eating out and save that $20, $30, immediately transfer that amount into your trip to Europe account.
Ah, so you get that immediate hit of seeing the balance grow.
Right. Even if it's a small amount, that visual progress, that immediate reinforcement makes the act of not spending money feel satisfying right away.
That makes sense. What about habit tracking? Does that provide satisfaction?
It definitely can. Marking an X on a calendar each day you complete your habit does a few things. Like what? One, it creates a visual cue that reminds you to act. Two, it's inherently motivating to see your streak grow and not want to break it. And three, just making that mark feels like a small, immediate reward. It's satisfying to record your success.
Don't break the chain.
Exactly. And tied to that is the idea, never miss twice. Life happens, you might miss a day, that's okay. But the key is to get back on track immediately the next day. Don't let one slip-up turn into two, then three.
Because that's how habits die.
Right. Mend the chain quickly.
Okay, and what if you need a bigger push, more accountability?
That's where an accountability partner or a habit contract can be really effective.
A habit contract, like you sign something.
Yeah, you can literally write down your commitment, the consequences for failing to meet it. Maybe even have someone else witness it.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Fisher, the Harvard negotiation expert, had this extreme idea for nuclear deterrence.
Oh, yeah, the one about the launch codes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He suggested putting the nuclear launch codes inside a small capsule implanted right next to the heart of a volunteer aide. So if the president ever wanted to launch the nukes, they would first have to physically take a knife and kill a specific known human being to get the codes.
That's incredibly dark, but I see the point. It makes the consequences immediate, visceral, and unavoidable.
Exactly. It raises the stakes dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
A habit contract does something similar, usually less violently. It adds a social cost or a pre-agreed penalty to an action. Knowing someone else is watching, or that you'll face an unpleasant consequence, makes you much less likely to procrastinate.
It makes the pain of not doing the habit immediate and tangible.
Precisely. It flips the script on delayed consequences.
Okay, so those are the 4 laws. Obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. Once you've got those working, are there more advanced tactics for really reaching mastery?
Yes, the source touches on a few key areas, like aligning habits with your natural talents.
Talents, like genetics.
Well, yes, genes play a role. They don't necessarily determine your destiny, but they do determine your areas of opportunity. Your genes can predispose you to certain strengths or weaknesses.
So you want to play a game where the odds are in your favor.
Exactly. Align your ambition with your natural inclinations. Understanding your personality, maybe through something like the Big 5 traits, can help guide you.
What are the big 5 again?
Openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Knowing where you fall on those spectrums can suggest which kinds of tasks or environments might suit you best.
So if you're highly agreeable, maybe a super competitive sales job isn't the best fit.
Maybe not. Or you'd need to find a way to compete that aligns with agreeableness. It's about finding the right niche. The author himself did this, right? He couldn't necessarily beat everyone at their own game.
So he created a new game. I remember reading he designed his own major in college.
Yeah, biomechanics. He combined physics, chemistry, biology, playing to his unique combination of strengths and interests, rather than competing head-on in one established field. You can often find an advantage by combining skills.
Interesting. Okay, what about staying motivated when things get tough or just boring?
That's where the Goldilocks rule comes in.
Not too hot, not too cold.
Exactly. Humans experience peak motivation when they're working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard that they get discouraged, but not too easy that they get bored.
Just manageable difficulty.
Right. You need that feeling of progress and challenge. Think about comedian Steve Martin. Apparently, he only expanded his stand-up routine by maybe a minute or two each year when he was starting out.
Really? That's slow.
Yeah, constantly balancing success with just enough challenge to keep improving, keep pushing without getting overwhelmed or complacent.
Finding that sweet spot. But you mentioned boredom. Is that really the biggest enemy?
According to the source, yes, boredom is perhaps the greatest villain on the path to self-improvement,
More than failure.
maybe even more. A weightlifting coach told the author something profound. The difference between the best athletes and everyone else often comes down to who can handle the boredom of training every single day, doing the same lifts, the same drills over and over.
Ugh. Yeah, I can see that. The initial excitement wears off.
Right. Professionals stick to the schedule whether they're in the mood or not. Amateurs let life get in the way. You have to, in a sense, fall in love with the boredom, with the process itself.
That's a tough one. Fall in love with boredom.
It's about embracing the repetition that mastery requires.
And finally, even with automated habits, is there still a need for conscious reflection?
Absolutely essential for true mastery. Habits automate, but you need reflection and review to make sure you're automating the right things and looking for ways to improve.
Like the pros do.
Exactly. Think about the LA Lakers under Pat Riley and their CBE statistic career best effort. They tracked everything, way beyond just points, to get a full picture of a player's contribution and find areas for improvement.
Or Chris Rock with his joke notepad.
Yeah, constantly testing materials, seeing what works, what doesn't, refining, tweaking. It's a continuous cycle of action and analysis.
And does this reflection loop back to identity again?
It does. Because as you review and refine, your identity shouldn't be too brittle. If your identity is, I'm a great basketball player, what happens when you get injured?
Your identity collapses.
Right. But if your identity is more like, I'm the type of person who is mentally tough and loves a physical challenge, that's much more flexible. You can apply that identity in many ways, even if your specific role changes.
Like maybe how that baseball player recovered. His identity wasn't just baseball player, but maybe someone who overcomes challenges.
Could be. It allows for adaptation and resilience.
Wow. So you can really see how these tiny atomic habits, when layered into these robust systems fueled by the right identity, they can lead to incredible transformation.
Absolutely. From how you structure your environment to how you frame your thoughts to managing that dopamine anticipation, every little detail plays a part.
It shapes who you are, day by day.
Indeed. And ultimately, your actions reveal how badly you truly want something. Our source has this interesting equation. Satisfaction, liking, wanting.
Satisfaction equals liking minus wanting. What does that mean?
If you're wanting, your desire constantly outpaces your liking, your enjoyment of what you have or achieve, you'll always feel unsatisfied. The gap creates discontent. And the pain of failure often correlates directly to the height of your expectation you're wanting.
So managing desire is as important as achieving goals.
It's crucial for long-term contentment. We're driven by the craving, wanting, and we're sustained by the reward, liking, or satisfaction.
It really is a feedback loop. So for you listening, what does this all boil down to? It means understanding that feelings are intertwined with behavior, craving kicks things off, reward keeps them going.
Right. So here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on, something to maybe explore on your own. How might your life fundamentally change if you started consciously managing that gap between your desires and your actual satisfaction? Not just for your big life goals, but in the tiny everyday habits. What could you achieve? Or perhaps, how much more content could you be if you found genuine pleasure not just in the final outcome, but in the consistent, small, sometimes boring efforts themselves?